I'm the Commissar, we're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and today we're on the moon for some 1v1 ladder. In the red corner, this is silentNoob. He is 1848 rated and he is Cybran. In the blue corner, this is BlInChIk. He's 1991 rated and he's UEF. And up here, guess this is us. There's a Novak satellite just orbiting the moon. It's neutral. I don't know whether it shoots anything or anyone. I don't know why it's there, but it's there. And speaking of the moon, let's have a look at it. It has mass scattered liberally all around it, but the particular clusters are here in these craters, where there's 1,500 each, 2,000 in these planes here, and 2,000 in the middle here. So, although there is mass pooped around the place everywhere, these areas will be particularly worth capturing, especially this ruined UEF city in the centre. Now look at this early aggression, just one NG out from Blin, and he's gone lab scout straight away before he even tries any more NGs. And to be fair, we've got NG and 2 labs out from Silent as well, so lots of early aggression. I guess they're each hoping that the other will go a little too greedy and not defend their NGs, but as it is, we're just going to have a tiny little lab war as pitiful little labs tickle each other with guns in the middle, and only further behind them do the NGs come out. Now, if I were Silent, I would have done what Blin's done. I would have sent scouts out with my labs, because the labs, they cannot really see a great deal around them, and if you're using them to scout, you may as well have something that can actually scout things for them to pick up. This lab is going to miss the labs of Blin, but this one isn't. Who's going to come out on top? The fight goes down. Silent's lab shoots the scout, dodges around, look at it microing like mad, and it takes out the lab from Blin, despite Blin's having a scout. Nice work. This pair comes along. Blin's got an NG coming for the NG in the middle, so has Silent, though his is a little further behind. Now, Silent has been very good here. He's got an expanding NG, but he's supported it with a Mantis, which is also using its bird power to help build the mechs, but as soon as this lab comes in sight, the Mantis just heads up and takes it out, and the NG can continue safely expanding. Nice work. Meanwhile, we have a bomber out from Blin to continue his aggression. Blin's gone second air, third land, and so has Silent. But Silent's unhurt lab has come on. It's found an NG here, and this poor NG, look, he's just trying to sit here and build the specs. That's all he wanted from life, and that lab walks by and slays him without a second thought. That poor NG, and more to the point, those 2 poor mexes, which Blin's now not getting any eco from. And Blin's bomber is hanging around over here. It's hoping to find an NG expanding here, but Silent isn't there yet. Silent has, instead, gone for his own bomber, and Blin's NG reaches the middle first. However, we've got to look over here, where we have another lab NG engagement. Silent almost runs on past it. He comes back and gets it and shoots at the next one, but the next one gets the reclaim off, and that's enough for Blin's lab to kill Silence. So, even so, that lab paid for itself, getting 2 kills. This bomber has got a couple of kills, but it's been shot down. How's Silent's bomber doing? Well, Silent's bomber appears to be landing, and I think that might be a bit of a mistake. Why is it landing? I don't know. Either way, it gets shot at by an actual lab before taking off again. And it's going to fly over the base from Blin, but it's been injured and there's an inty on its tail. Is it going to get a single thing done? No, it's not. Over here, though, that lab from the earlier engagement was camping this mechs, but it's running away. This NG has 3 hits. Please, please, Silent, come back and kill it. 3 hits, that's all you need to do. And he does, and it goes down. Nice. So, excellent mech denial from Silent. And looks like Blin is going absolutely mad for labs. He has 5 here. He has 5 here. He has 5 here. He has 5. There's 20 labs on the field for Blin. Now, labs are great when used for raiding. They can scamper around and just be everywhere, fast and hard to catch. But this is very good tank, or rather mantis, assault bot, positioning from silent. Because look, he's just scattering them around everywhere, like he had that one following the engineer, so that the labs will run into the mantis and die, because T1 tanks beat T1 labs. And so these labs are essentially dying almost for free to this one mantis. And meanwhile, this production, if it goes up, will be an excellent gain for silent, because labs aren't going to take out a factory. And we see the same sort of thing going down over here. Here come 4 labs, and those mixes could be easy prey, but there's just one mantis, that's all he needs in position, and he's going to see off those labs no problem. And he does. And these two will run into this production here. Now here in the north, Silent is now attacking with tanks, and that will be enough to clear out some of these mixes. The lab raids continue for Blin. He will get a singular engineer, but there's 2 tanks coming here, and that will quickly put a stop to these labs before any mixes are lost for Silent. Whereas over here, Blin is losing mixes. He's lost one, he'll probably lose a second. They're pulling away. Is he going to leave that mix alive? He is, isn't he? Down here, Silent is trying to put up a PD, but the engineer is killed by the tank. However, there's already a factory up here and a mantis in position, so between them, that's going to be more than enough to defend these mexes. Over Blin's base, one hero bomber is already at 8 kills and counting. Let's see how much it can get done. Make that 10 kills. Down here, Blin is really going all in on labs to try and take out this production. Will there be enough tanks coming out to stop this endless trickle? On the left, the bomber at 11 kills is still getting work done. What's Blin gonna be able to do to stop it? He's got an interceptor here, but that's fighting Silence interceptor. Over here, the labs are swarming around the factory, but tanks are coming in. We're now up to 13 kills there. That is pretty great. And this is just a trickle. Okay, there were now some tanks, but it's been enough time for Silent to bring in his own tanks, and we're now up to 13 kills. Is it going down? It goes down. F's in the chat for that hero bomber. Silent actually has quite a decent force of mantis up here, but these are the ones I want to look at. They've managed to creep past, and they are going to get some work done. These mexes remain denied for Blin, and there are NGs moving about here that these mantis could pick up, and they're going to split up to see what they can get. Meanwhile, Blin is sending tanks straight in. Look, he's just giving them a move order to come here and hit this. But there's defensive tanks here from Silent, and that means that this whole huge wave of mantis is just going to get past, re-denying this expansion and killing this engineer, while these mantis have got into the base and are killing actual mexes. This is great work from Silent. Two mexes down, and these engineers are all going to be toast, aren't they? Look at this. And Blin, he's brought these units here. I think he got this mix kill maybe, but there's more than enough to defend here. And I think that Silent is going to just pick these up almost for free. Meanwhile, this whole wave of mantis is coming in, and look at the NGs just dying. This is painful. Now, we have to keep an eye on how much damage Silent is doing here. Look at this. This is amazing. But over here, Blin is using his trademark labs to repay the favour. Over here, his main tank army has met the main tank army from this one piece of production we keep talking about down here. Silent's defense against those labs is a bomber. I don't know if he's going to be able to save that mex though. However, his attack's been killed here, but at what cost to Blin? Now, Blin is keeping this lone factory under constant pressure, but it's defending. Point defense is trying to be erected here by Mantis Construction, The Mantis are shooting the tanks that are coming in, and in general, I think it might be working, and I think I saw our first tech on the field. We have T2 Air out from Silent as he picks up some NGs. I think he's trying to drop the reclaim here and maybe here. Silent's comm has come forward to the middle, BlIn's comm to this flank. Silent getting a few raids in here, but before it gets more than this mech's done. That's a lot of factories that BlIn's queued up there. Anyway, Silent has not taken the pressure off up north. He sent round another wave of Mantis, but this time it's going to get a little less done, because BlIn still has these strikers in defense. UEF T1 versus Cybran T1, and he's got all this immense amount of T1 production here. So there were a few NG kills, but mostly these Mantis just leave reclaim for BlIn to eat up. And Silent Southern Production has lost its mexes, but it's able to just produce more engineers to rebuild them. Although that one got popped first. And it's still defending. This one factory is a real thorn in BlIn's side. And it's lost its mexes, but it remains intact, and there's a few engineers in its queue ready to rebuild. And this is still just a tricker from BlIn. It's not really achieving a great deal. Meanwhile, Silence crept some tanks across the moonrock, or possibly dropped them. I didn't see. Anyone tell me in the comments below? Anyway, he's crept some tanks into the back of BlIn's base, and he's going to pick up a few things like mexes, which is going to be nice. A mex and an engineer are nice, and he's kept these tanks back here for a little bit, which is and another engineer, which is more than he would have been able to do otherwise. Few little raids from BlIn, but he's still keeping a small amount of pressure everywhere rather than a single large push. But nobody can afford to make a single large push, because then the pressure everywhere from the other player will be a problem for them. And BlIn is bringing his comm forward. Now his comm is still naked, so that could be a little bit of a problem, especially as there's T2 gunships now coming out for Silent. They're flying straight over. They should have stopped to pick up those engines, so the comm will get those. And I think he's trying to take them just straight into the base of BlIn to get some eco damage done. But BlIn hasn't been ecoing up. You can in fact, look at the eco difference. Wow, that's like nearly 20 ahead for Silent, because BlIn hasn't teched up a single mex. And Silent targets the power. But BlIn has interceptors in hand, and the gunships both go down, so that feels like a bit of a waste for Silent. While BlIn's immense line of spam factories, how many has he got so far? He has 24 factories so far producing T1 spam, which is mad. And he is beginning to get the amount of spam actually to do something. This horde of spam is taking out mexes and factories for Silent here, and he's still pushing across the middle and swooping down here, while his comm moves in around the outside. Another gunship in defense from Silent. Is he going to try and hit the comm? He might do. Yeah, he does. And he brings in 2 gunships. 3 gunships, 4 gunships. This could be a bit of a problem for BlIn, actually. And BlIn's got inties more than Silent has, but they've got a lot of gunship to work through. But that said, the gunships have a lot of comm to work through, and they fall back because they're needed to defend right back here, as BlIn is sending waves of spam straight towards Silent's main base, and they are almost getting there. In they come, and the gunships are doing okay in defense, but BlIn's got a decent amount of inties supporting, and they're actually getting into Silent space. This is good work from BlIn. If they can take up this is Silent's only energy storage, and his comm won't be able to overcharge, which, as we can see on the map, might prove to be a problem for him if Blin rushes in. And I think the energy storage is going to be going down. Boom, indeed it is. The gunships will probably clear up the rest, but damage has been done. And yet another wave comes in, finishing off some T1 mexes. So all in all, very good work from BlIn. As we do have T2 land as well now from Silent, and he's got a Rhino here to stop this along with the gunship. But he's having to work right at the very front of his base, whereas BlIn is all the way forward here, applying pressure here, applying pressure here, and applying pressure here. We have a cheeky Medusa Cricker coming in, trying to pick up some kills over here. Let's see how long before BlIn notices that. And though Silent may have the tech, BlIn's army is just so numerous that he is able to find the gaps. But Silent is still significantly ahead on eco because he's got T2 mexes and BlIn still doesn't have any. This is a bit cheeky, sneaking past here and getting some NG and Mex kills, and this spam from BlIn will eventually defend, but not before some damage has been done. And this is a significant force out from BlIn. 2 Mex is definitely going down, and there are multiple Rhinos in defense, but by the time this force of Rhinos gets there, look, he's just heading on north. He's going to head on and try and take this out, and the Rhinos just have to chase in pursuit. And while these Rhinos are up here, there's another force striking down here, taking out these Mexes and these NGs. This is relentless from BlIn, and Silent just can't be everywhere with his same time. At the same time, he's got the tech advantage, but he hasn't got enough of the tech in order to be able to defend everywhere at once. And he's lost production up here, he's losing eco up here, and these Rhinos are caught in a futile chase. Meanwhile, BlIn is getting into position here with a lot of AA to defend from the gunships. These tanks have raided here, and these tanks continue moving. However, there's now a Cerberus turret up, as well as a decent number of T2, and BlIn is still naked. Meanwhile, these Rhinos and these Strikers are caught in an endless chase, and wherever these go one way, these go the other way. Cue Yakety Sax, you know what I mean. Meanwhile, BlIn is actually taking decent damage from this force, and he may be forced to retreat. However, he's swarming in spam to defend, as his comm feels like he's under a bit too much pressure and falls back. And these tanks are still getting work done, and BlIn's into the red with just 2,500 hit points remaining. Now would be the perfect time for a gunship snipe if Silent actually has any, but I don't know if he has. And BlIn looks like he's going to make it out. On the right, Silent's comm has had to come to the rescue, but Silent's comm is also still naked, and that's a big army from BlIn pushing in the top. BlIn retreats, but his spam is enough to defend his comm. However, this is a decent T2 force coming in from Silent. This looks like it's taking a position here, and we have a few other things to look at. But look at that, BlIn has had a narrow escape. Over here, Silent has dropped this crater, and you remember that had about 1,500 reclaim in it. That's pretty nice. Over here, the T2 that followed BlIn has made... Oh, actually, I say it. Holy cow. 900 hit points. Can he get the overcharges in? 800 hit points. But he's okay. Where's the gunships? Where's the more T2? There's the more T2. Can it get there in time? These units are faster than the comm, but if they just ran in, they'd be swarmed by this T1 spam. And over here, this hero factory that we've been talking about got down to about 300 hit points and that too has survived, so narrow escapes from BlIn's comm and the factory. However, I would rather lose a factory than my comm, because if I lose my comm, I'm dead. And so, that was quite a close shave for BlIn there. And this is actually quite a big army, but so's this. I think that with Silent being naked, this horde of strikers could just have run back and swarmed him, but it's moving on this way in a trickle. Silent's able to shoot it from the back. This Corsair and this Renegade are able to just pick it off, and more Renegades coming in to defend. I think that both players missed opportunities there. Over here, the terrain is playing in BlIn's favour, as his comm is shielded from this decent-sized T2 army. He starts on Nano, but that seems a bit unwise with this army anti-cancers. And I think that we do have a chance here for Silent to get in and actually hit BlIn. How is this army doing? Well, it's taken out a mech or two, and there's another one coming, but now there's enough T2 to defend. So let's go back and see what's happening to BlIn and his comm. He's still in the red. He's getting shots off. He's nearly got his next rank of veterancy. But there are point defences up, and rather than try and take the comm against the point defences, these T2 units are just heading on for for Silent, into BlIn's base. And how's he going to stop them with only a small trickle of T1? I really don't know. It's getting damage done. However, he's sending T1 bombers to save the day. And he's still entirely at T1. We have T2 air and we have T2 land from Silent. And we have a decent number of T2 mexes and T2 power and shields and everything. But we have not a single piece of T2 from BlIn. Not one. Everything he's got is T1. The factories, the mexes, the point defences, the engineers. Everything is T1 as Silent starts the T3 land upgrade. This is the real quality versus quantity in terms of units. And this one Rhino, look, that's got 27 kills already, 1,000 match. That's great work from that Rhino, but it is finally bombed to death by hordes of bombers. And over here, BlIn has started Nano again, quite heavily assisted. He's going to get that finished, and that will make him a lot chunkier. And he goes straight onto the gun upgrade. I don't blame him one little bit. Silent is chasing those bombers with his inties as they come for this T2 raid. And that feels like it's enough T2 that if he can shoot the bombers down, then he'll be able to get damage done. But BlIn just responds with more inties, and the bombers keep doing their dirty work. Again, though, this bomber defense is his play of choice, as another sneaky raid of T1 tanks comes scuttling around the side, and the only thing on the ground to stop it is an engineer. That's going down. And this mech will once again be denied for Silent, and BlIn is actually ahead on eco despite the fact he hasn't teched up a single mech. That's actually pretty great. Look at his map control. And BlIn's definitely got air thanks to this swarm of inties. And while Silent has these decent pockets of T2 moving around, he just hasn't got enough anywhere really on the field to be able to defend adequately against all these pushes or to raid. That said, it's not going to stop him trying. Love that radar he's put up in that crater, by the way. It's not going to stop him trying, and he's got these forces backed up now by flak to stop the bombers getting too much work done. He's just got these forces pushing in, getting a little bit of work done. And not to be dissuaded, he's trying again here. Again, there's flak in there. Again, the bombers are therefore going to be slightly muted. More flak back here. Flak everywhere, and that's what we want to see. Although this bomber, well, I was going to see whether it killed anything. I think he got 1 or 2 kills in there, but it instantly got shot down because there's flak from Silent. And once again, there may be flak But there's bomber defense. Are there going to be enough? I suspect they're going to target the flak first. Nope, they're just on an attack move. But they do target the flak first. And down it goes. These fellas are now vulnerable to a bomber defense. However, let's look at BlInChIk. He's got gun, he's got nano, he's got hordes of T1 spam, and this pestilential factory, this one factory that we keep coming back to, is still there. Is it at last time for this last bastion, this great titan of cyber domination to fall? These T2 units for Silent are falling back. This point defense is, I think, going down, and it goes down. F's in the chat for this majestic factory that held on for so long against that relentless pressure from Blin. Now, once again, the ecos are back almost perfectly balanced. Blin's collected more, probably from Reclaim, yes it is. But production is back again in balance, and we have T3 land complete and Loyalists coming out. Now, Loyalists are an excellent choice because Loyalists are able to handle T1 very well indeed for their cost. What's he planning to build? He's going straight for a P-Gen by the looks of things, and then some more flak. But now the Loyalists are coming out, and he is going to need a bit of tech because Blin has gun, Blin has nano, Blin has 3 vets. He is going to be tough to stop. Meanwhile, more raiding, more bomber defense, but even more anti-air, although that's not flak, that's our T1 mixed in to try and defend, and we've been seeing lots of inti production from Silent to try and keep this going. But the map control is beginning to even out, and the map controllers, Blin owns most of it, and look, he's got that eco lead back up and running again. This is a huge, huge swarm of bombers, and Silent, he must see them. He doesn't see them. He doesn't see there's a massive swarm of bombers there because he hasn't got any radar. And he's building T3 mobile arty. He's built a trebuchet. I'm not sure I love that. If he can escort it into position to start hitting some base, then sure. But I don't think Blin's still teched up nothing at all. So what is there really that's a high value target for this piece of artillery to hit? And Blin is charging towards the base for Silent. This seems courageous. And Blin's got one of his hordes coming down here. He's got one coming down here. I think he's got... Sure, that Loyalist will do some good work, but I think he's just going to mash that Treb. And I think that Treb might have been a misclick. I think it was a bad choice. And indeed, it is going right down. And we also have bricks. Now, if Silent were UEF, then I would absolutely not be advocating Percy's here unless I were planning a snipe or perhaps a drop. But because he's cyber and bricks have that fast rate of fire, and so they're not bad against T1 while also being able to dish out decent damage against a comm. And he's got a couple in here. This is a lot of Lobos, and that brick needs to dodge, but it is dodging. And it is getting the work absolutely done. Meanwhile, though, this swarm is actually cutting off Silent's comm, and if the bombers and the swarm of tanks go for Silent's comm, he could actually be in danger. He's bringing up Loyalists in support, but every bit of T3 heading up that way is T3 that's not defending against this chunk that's coming in here. And Blin now owns 80% of the map. Let's just zoom out and look at that. And he's got twice Silent's eco. This looks like it's a foregone conclusion, and just to make the point, all of this, all of it, is T1 and Blin is leading in person from the front. Another little attempt at a raid from Silent, but there's no anti-air in there and the bomber defense is real. The loyalists scutter back and forth, trying to do as much damage as they can with their single brick friend, but these bombers can just keep on inflicting the damage. And we now have tanks and Blin himself getting into Silent's actual base. If they can shut down the P-Gen, they're going to deny this one being built, but if they can shut down, say, some of these power generators, or even the T3 production, that would be amazing. And Blin is getting off overcharges. He's going in for the death blow. Loyalist production is churning as fast as it can, and the loyalists are shooting at Blin, but I don't think they have the damage output to stop him. But now the T3 army that had gone up to try and defend Silent, who's not actually getting bombed, has come back, and that might be the death blow. Has Blin overextended? Here he is. He's taking fire from loyalists, he's taking fire from bricks, more are coming off the production line all the time, but he's able to get off overcharges, I think. One loyalist goes down, but it's not enough, the brick has got into range. He's over... Boom! Blin goes down, overextending at the end of a game I'm sure he was dominating, and despite this absolute swarm of blue covering the map, the moon belongs to the Cybrans. Ah, Blin, you were so close. All T1 units, all T1 mixes, I loved it. But in the end, it was a brick or two that stomped you down. My good viewers, please tell me, what would you have done in Blin's position? Where should he have fallen back his comm? Could you have won it with just T1 spam? Tell me in the comments below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm TheCommissar. I will see you next time.